What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Dom coming live and direct. Now, check this out. We want to give you a quick tip on what you all can do to overcome porn and masturbation. But I got a special guest today. Is my beautiful wife. Had to do the Oprah thing. You know how Oprah be like, yeah. I've
Right.
always wanted to do that. So this is my my beautiful wife, Jatan here. And the reason I brought her on
Thank you,
because
Pumpkin.
it was one of the subscribers uh, a couple of days ago or so wanted a video talking about masturbation. I did a video, but I felt like I didn't really do it justice because I wanted it to really come from a woman's perspective, and that's wisdom. I wanted to come from my wife's perspective, and her question was more so about masturbation. This subscriber was dealing with an issue with her husband. She feels like she can't talk to her husband about sex issues, and the reason she can't talk to him about sex issues is because I guess he maybe becomes frustrated, and in that frustration, it causes her to want to go out there and to masturbate, and so she's having this issue with masturbation because essentially she feels like her husband is pushing her away. So I talked to Jatan about it, and I'm hoping that Jatan can give uh, you ladies out there, or even some of you guys who are going through the same situation, a little bit of advice. So, without further ado, Jaton,
Really?
bam,
Oh my God.
well, you on my
Here, let
camera.
me come
Everybody see
over.
your pretty face anyway.
Oh my God. I don't know how pretty it is this morning, but guys, so just some insight. So to the lady that is dealing with this issue, first thing I want to say, like, I'm really sorry to hear that that you're having this issue. You say that you have tried to approach him with this, but he has not been approachable, or he hasn't really shown interest. And there are a couple of questions that I do want to throw at you, some possibilities. Um, and some of those things are, have you guys had any issues with any infidelity in the marriage prior to this? Has he had any issues? Do you suspect that there could be infidelity issues? How about things such as his own sexuality? Do you think he might be struggling with masturbation? Because one thing for sure about masturbation is it's something that takes away from the marriage. It's also something that lessens sexual desire for one another. What you're doing when you masturbate is self satisfaction or self gratification. So if you're self gratifying, then there's no need for somebody else to do it for you. So therefore, if somebody's meeting that need, there's no need for their partner or their spouse. Let's say spouse, because we want to encourage marriages. There's no need for your spouse to fulfill that need because it's already been fulfilled. Another question I would want to kind of throw your way, in addition to maybe infidelity, masturbation, has he had in the past dealt with any sexual abuse in his own past? What is his views about sex? Did you guys ever have that talk before? Have you guys considered maybe doing sex therapy or counseling to talk about that? Because these type of things are things that can possibly make talking about sex and sexual issues uncomfortable for him. And maybe if he, I think a lot with men, sometimes it might be a little easier for women, and I say just a little easier only because um, the way men are, wired and regulated or whatever, they're talking about being violated or having somebody do something to you is a lot more difficult for men to talk about, only because you know, we're wired different. So if there's anything like that could have happened in his past, maybe perhaps as a child, I'm just kind of throwing some things around out there for you to kind of ponder on that might be the root of some of the issues that could be going on. If he's struggling,
Hmm.
also too, if he's struggling with masturbation, certain spiritual issues that take night, these type of things, it's possible to actually repel your partner
Hmm.
from you, even when you're doing it yourself. A night husband that comes on you will do things to, to repel your spouse away from you. So but the good thing is that you are reaching out and you have the desire to want to talk to him about it. I don't know. Hopefully, the both of you guys are saved. You know Christ. If you don't know Christ, of course, you definitely want to get in a relationship with Christ, because that right there is going to be like over half the battle right there, for him to come in and start to work on your marriage and your marriage bed. Because that's always an area where we do need God in those areas, because there's so many things outwardly that work to try to destroy a
And
marriage,
it's a supernatural thing.
and it's a
Yeah.
supernatural thing. I will say this. I will say that you might want to seek out some help like yourself, which we're glad that you came here, because um, you want to seek God to help him to show you how to pray and how to go into warfare on the behalf of not only yourself, but go into warfare on the behalf of your spouse, to break, for that breakthrough, to get through to him, to open up um, his heart in order for you guys to open those lines of communication on that, because the Bible says that we're not supposed to defraud one another. And basically, defrauding one another is when you're withholding sexual, sex, or withholding intimacy from one another, because what ends up happening when you do that, it opens up the door for the devil to come in. And when the devil comes in, he really comes in. He's going to come in. He can come in the form of, somebody else, stepping in, and that's where your infidelity comes in. This and that. Um, Another thing that also came to mind too, a lot of women, you're not by yourself. There's quite a few women also that probably struggle with masturbation too, because there's quite a bit of women that are single. There's a lot of lonely women out there. Because dating is pretty hard these days. Um, Men and women sexually are, wired a little bit differently, and unfortunately, because of this type of society and fallen society that we are dealing with, this type of society teaches men about sex. A lot of times guys learn about sex from things like pornography, magazines, TV, movies, everything other than the natural way things are supposed to be. You grow up, your parents are supposed to teach you about the birds and the bees, and then you learn from your own natural interactions between one another through dating experiences and things like that. That's the natural process. But when you have other interferences like porn and different things like strippers, all this type of sexual images that are being thrown, that are putting into the minds of young men of how a woman is supposed to be, how they're supposed to be towards a woman, what is sex, everything of how they're supposed to relate to women. They're getting that information from pornography, TVs, movies, sex industry. All this type of stuff is out there that's showing them how to really communicate with women, and that's not in that those things are not reality. That's a fantasy world. And so a lot of times, men will approach women sometimes with that fantasy type of a mindset. And in reality, women think completely different. Women's components, there's emotional components, a mental component to a woman's sexuality. And because a woman may not be getting engaged in that emotional or that mental component, if you just approach a woman in a purely physical physical way, then it leaves other areas unfulfilled, or it shuts down her physically. Like, it's very hard to get the physical part of a woman involved in sex when the mental and emotional components are not being included in there. They're not being met. What's up, honey?
So, oh, I just snorted.
Yeah, I was like, what was
I
that?
just where they
So,
where they come from? Jesus, my sinuses. But anyway, like
so,
God, I said so. Like, okay. Anyway, so based on what you said right now, how do you relate that to this young lady who's going through the situation with her husband not having sex with her? She feeling as you masturbate. So it sounds like you're saying that he may have some other sexual issues that are going on that he
Has not
has
shared
not
with her.
shared with her. That's ultimately maybe the crux of why
Hmm.
he doesn't feel comfortable communicating
With her about it.
with with her about it.
Yeah, you never know what's
So
going on in a person's life.
so
So
how should she, because I did a video about it and I thought about it later and I said, you know what, I hope, and I did it with the right spirit, right? You know, but I was like, man, you know, I really need my wife to do it because I don't like, here's the thing, I love doing videos to help people. We love helping people, right? That's
right,
the whole point of doing this. That's why some of the videos can be seem a little bit long, because this is one of those issues that you just can't devote 2 or 3 minutes to. And
that's
like
for
I
sure.
tell people, if you can't watch the whole video at once, man, just bookmark it and come back to it.
Right.
Don't be one of those people complaining like, why the video so long? And now you struggling with something and you complain about the videos being whatever. Just, you know, just humble yourself. Look at 2 or 3 minutes at a time or whatever the case may be.
Or just look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you've been struggling with something for 20 years, don't think that 20 minutes
Right.
or 2 minutes is going to
It's
solve your
gonna
problem. And you've been dealing with this for
it,
you've been
you've been dealing
harboring
with a
that
lot.
demon for a long time. So
Exactly.
it's going to take more than just 2 minutes to get rid of something you have been nurturing and been feeding all this time. So that's going to take a minute to get that out.
And so that's why we do it, because I try to do it in a therapeutic sense to, you know, to put something on your mind. But when I was talking to that lady, when I did that video, really for that lady, but really when I do videos, sometimes people ask me questions and I tell them I do videos about it. So it's answering them, but it's a nugget there that will help a lot of other people, right?
Right.
And I thought about it. I said, you know what? I told her about her approach. I said, well, you know, you want to have the law of kindness, you want to have the law of gentleness. You don't want to come at him the wrong way. And I thought
Right.
about it. I said, you know what? I spent more time talking about her approach as opposed to talking about what he could have done too.
Right.
Because I was saying, you don't want to come at him like, man, man, I'm horny and why your thing ain't working? Like, why you ain't trying to put out? Like, I'm like, yo, whatever.
Wow.
Like,
That's
the
pretty
moment you do that, the dude is he gonna shut down. He gonna go back into his shell like a turtle, and then you done lost the individual because you done attacked him. And especially a man's ego can be, you know, this
very
can
fragile.
be fragile. And you come at a dude the wrong way, the dude
It's
gonna be
shutting
like
down.
shut down instantly. Like sometimes you could tell people the truth, but if you don't tell them with gentleness, they're not going to receive it. Like you can come and sometimes people say stuff like, and I've had to learn that even dealing with my wife. Like you can be like, well, I told the truth, and I pray to God, well, God, I told her the truth. It's like, yeah, but
You didn't do it in the right manner.
you didn't do it in the right manner. The spirit was off. You weren't gentle. Things of that nature.
Definitely, to second like what you're saying, like how you approach a spouse. Ooh, baby hairs. How you approach a spouse, approach your spouse about especially something as sensitive as sexuality, because it's something that's personal. It's a really personal and intimate, topic. And so, you can really hurt somebody if you don't approach that in the right way. So never, you never want to approach him in front of people. You never ever want to put him down or berate him, or that those are all the wrong approaches, because that's going to instantly shut off, you know, any lines of communication. Also, just to kind of put this in your head as well, and I want you to really think about all these things that I kind of throw out there as possibilities as to why this might be happening. Another thing that you may want to think about or consider is he battling any health issues?
Mm.
Because a lot of times men's health issues can interfere with
And
sexuality,
they're scared to say
impotency,
anything about it.
and they're scared and
Yeah,
embarrassed
it's
to say
true.
something about it, because a lot of health issues can lead to impotence, things like that. And impotency and those sort of things are something that a lot of men do struggle with, to talk to their wives about. And oftentimes it comes off like, oh, he's pushing me away, you're not into me, this, that, and the
And he
other.
really feels bad about
And he
himself,
feels bad
and
about
he's
himself, and
yeah,
he can't talk to you
and
about it
he's
because
afraid
he's
you're gonna look at him
embarrassed.
different. Yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
that's
that's
probably
true.
something you can talk about. But I'm a nurse, so that's why I'm bringing this up in a clinical sort of way. If he has health issues that he has not disclosed or that he's not talking to you about, that's something else that you may want to consider. So if that's the case, you know, um, some of the options that maybe he might be more comfortable talking to maybe you, him, and a practitioner, and talk about it from a clinical standpoint, or maybe perhaps he might be comfortable talking to some other men about it that can help guide him and coach him on how to open up to you about it.
And you know what? That's a good point. And the thing that I want to say too is, and I want you to answer this. We hear it from his perspective,
Mhm.
but what about the ladies that say, you know what? I'm tired of always looking out for that other person, which I can understand that. But what about me, sis? Like, what about me? Like, how do I address him as my husband, but at the same time make sure that my needs as a wife are taken care of? Because at the end of the day,
Mhm.
yes, he may have some issues with his health. It could be a possibility. Yes, he may be embarrassed, but at the same time, I'm horny and I want to have sex, and I'm the one struggling with feeling like I need to go masturbate, and
Right.
and I'm tired. So what do you say to that woman who says, "I get you, sis. I hear everything that you're saying, but at the same time, your girl need to get some sex.
I understand. I mean, I
Like your
get it.
girl
Yeah.
is horny right now. My husband is not giving it to me like I want it." So
So,
what do you say to those women?
I mean,
How do
I
they
would.
deal with it? How do they get over that? Like, what do they do? How do they express themselves to their husband and at the same time, bam,
I mean,
with
I
it?
would. I would say, definitely. I don't think there's any getting over it. Of course, it is a
Mm,
tough. That's definitely a tough thing for anybody to deal with, whether you're a guy or a girl. I think. Um, that's something that, as I had said before, that's definitely something you have to, for sure, bring before the Lord about. You may even need to go as far as going on a fast, to put yourself on a fast,
that's a
and
good one.
and in order for the Lord to help to curb that for right now while He is dealing with your marriage. Also, use that time right now.
So it's a warfare going against your
Yes, a
marriage.
warfare. So you may need to go into fasting and prayer time
Hmm.
with God. You can also capitalize on this season, this rough season you're going through. You can capitalize on that to engage the Lord more, spend more time, or go and spend a little bit more deeper time with God and find out from Him how to warfare and um, how to deal with this thing to get victory in this area, because you never know what the Lord may show you. The Lord may reveal to you, because through fasting and prayer, the Lord will and can reveal to you exactly what's going on with your husband. And at that time, the Lord can also show you exactly what to say, exactly how to approach it. He may tell you nothing. He may tell you not to approach him at all. That may be the instruction of the Lord. The Lord may show you not to say anything to him all, but I want you to pray for him. And God Himself is going to deal with your husband and deal with him and get with him to come to you and start to talk to you about what's going on, especially if whatever it is that he's dealing with has to do with some sexual issues that he might be having. God will have to deal with him about that. Some other, I would think like maybe some other tips might be to find some other outlets, maybe working out, um, you know, getting into some other hobbies, getting into some other things to occupy your time and your energy, something that's going to expend your energy,
Mm.
working out, taking up hobbies, maybe go hiking, bike riding, and different things like that, you know, getting invited. And also, you want to link up with other like minded women in Christ, because you need that support. Other women
Mm.
that are going to help to hold you accountable, other women that are going to come into agreement and pray and war with you for your marriage and whatnot. So
And,
yeah.
and you know what? One that I thought about real quick. was ask yourself, has he already told you the answer, but you didn't accept it? Because sometimes people will tell you stuff, but because sometimes people have cognitive dissonance where you tell them something, it's like, okay, you said this, but I don't really believe it. I don't really believe what you told me because it was just so far fetched. Like for example, a dude could be like, you know what, the reason you could have asked him before, like, baby, why you don't do this, and he could have told you, I'm not attracted to you like that.
Mm.
Because baby, I mean, not to be funny, but I'm just
I
we're
would.
just
I
giving
mean, well, why are
solutions.
you with the
But
girl?
but but no, but hear me out. He just say, you gained 150 pounds, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all were together, and now you don't went from a size 4 to like a size 24,
Mm-hmm.
and guys are visually stimulated. So to himself, it's like, yeah, he was having all this sex with you before, but now it's like, I ain't really feeling her. I don't even really know who this person is. This is not the woman I married. This is a size 24. And people can say, well, that's vain and that's wrong. But that's just the reality. A lot of guys are visual. A lot of people in general are visual. And so my point being is he may have already answered that question.
Mm-hmm.
He may have told you as a man, like, hey, look, baby, I ain't really feeling it. But you didn't want to hear him. Or he maybe told you in subtle ways, you know, baby, you need to get in the gym and lose some weight. Baby, he's tired of looking at you in that Momo.
A
He's tired,
Momo? You mean a moo babe?
whatever you call it, Moo Moo. I'm thinking about
A
the
Momo.
Moo. I know I'm tripping. And the Moo Moo,
Not the
I'm
Momo.
yeah, I'm tired of seeing you without your hair done, without your nails done, but you
That's a really
you
important
walking
point.
around stanking like them old women say down south, old people down, not smelling, not funky, smelling,
Stankin'.
stanking,
Wow.
stanking. You got to put stank on it, stanking. He
Wow.
tired of you stanking, and so it's then turned him off to the point to where he's like, and he's told you about your hygiene in subtle ways, in a way to not hurt your feelings, but you didn't catch the hints. Like, well, you just gonna have to love me for me. You don't have to love me
No.
for me. And
You
so
can't
now,
do that.
he's like, okay,
You can't
okay,
do that. You
I don't
cannot
want to
do
have sex
that.
with this woman. I don't want to do that. And now you sitting there hurt talking about, so, well, God, why you don't want? Because you funky. That's why the man didn't already told you to wash your behind.
Oh my
But
God.
you don't you
Really,
didn't
man?
want to hear the advice when the man that told you because your pride then kicked in and be like, well, he just gonna like me. Well, that's why you ain't having sex because you stinking and
Okay.
you funky. And
So,
he told you to wash your behind. You don't want to wash it.
baby, oh my God. So that, I mean, it's funny and as funny as that is, as funny as that is, you
Lord
you
forgive me.
want as women, because remember however it is that you got, however it was when you got with your spouse. I'm gonna say something else. However it is you got your spouse, it is important to maintain. And women, you cannot do that to your man, to your husband. Let yourself go and stop caring about yourself
And
and
be
stuff like
prideful
that,
about it
and think
too.
that that's okay, and then turn around and be like, well, you need to accept me for me and this and no, 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 no.
No, I
Just
don't.
because you get married doesn't mean you stop doing your hair, doesn't mean that you stop, fixing yourself up, stop getting your nails done, all this and that. Because remember, those were things that he found attractive about you, and those are some of the things that drew him to you. Now, on the flip side of stuff, also men as well, same thing goes for you. Whatever it is that drew, helped to charm your lady and get her to say yes and all that, you have to continue those things. Yes, you need to still keep working out. Yes, do buy roses and flowers and do, some of those same things. Yes, you still take her out on dates. Yes, you still date your wife. Those type of things don't stop. So you can't, and that takes me back to what I said before, um, with the needs of a woman, because a woman's mind and her emotions play strong roles, at least I believe, strong roles in her sexuality, that those other components of a woman have to be engaged. Otherwise it's just like having dry sex, like You know what I mean? It's just nothing else there.
So
And so
go ahead. I'm sorry.
what I was gonna say also too, on the flip side of things now, on the flip side, you do also have to keep things in perspective. For men out there, do not think that you have to learn how to roll with the punches and learn how to roll with the would you say what the swells, roll with the swells and the lows of your marriage.
The
If
times.
you're, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything, she's not going to stay looking like she's 21 her
Right.
whole life.
Right. Right. That's
Understand
true.
these things. That's why getting out of that fantasy stuff is so important, and realizing you're dealing in reality, the real world, real life, real women. I don't care how young of a woman you get as a man, she's going to get older.
Right.
If you marry, I don't care if you marry an 18-year-old, guess what? She's going to become, that 18-year-old is going to become 21. That 21-year-old is going to turn 25 and 30 and 50. It never stops. And when you throw kids into the mix, oftentimes a woman's body changes after having kids.
That had nothing to do with you
So
not watching your behind, though.
no, we're not talking about washing. We're just talking about period
Yeah.
things like weight gain and stuff like that.
Well, we understand it, but I'm talking about the
But
stuff
people,
that you
some but
can deal with. I'm talking about the
the
stuff
stuff
that
you
you
can,
can.
but I'm just saying, and to a certain extent, to a large extent, actually something can be done about that, because just because you have kids, you know, it doesn't mean you stop taking care of your body or stop working out
Right.
as well. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because they even have workout routines for pregnant women as well to help maintain and keep your body going as you're pregnant. But my point is, as long as it's safe, you guys always check with your doctor to make sure it's safe. Because you have, you know, pregnancy complications. He may um, it may be contraindicated. But anyways, my point is, you definitely have to keep up those things that drew you to one another, but also remember you have to keep a balance and keep stuff in perspective. Everything's not going to be as it was. Your husband may not always have a six pack. He may not always be, you know, he may not always have it going on. He may not always be able to, you know, do everything that he used to do. People get sick, so you never know what changes may come
Right.
along in your marriage. So you have to be mature enough to deal with those type of things and not hold them against your spouse and say, okay, you know what, this is, we have to adjust to the new normal, and go from there or whatever.
And also just to piggyback off my wife, you have to make sure that what you're um, what you're desiring is not based on your own pornographic mindset.
Right, that's a good one, baby.
You know what I mean? Like
It's a
you may
real
be
good one.
desiring something from your wife that is not normal in the first place, and now you're
Hmm.
trying to get her to do stuff that's not even normal, or you're trying to
It's
get
not in her
him
nature.
to do something that you, because you done watched 50 Shades of Grey 100 times and read the novels and stuff. Now you trying to get him to be like Christian from 50 Shades of Grey, and it's
And it's
like
not fair.
that ain't normal. That ain't fair. That's a fantasy.
Because people can't compete with a
You can't. Yeah,
fantasy. It's
you just
it's
can't
not
do it.
normal and it's not fair.
And now when he doesn't do it, oh, I just can't believe my husband ain't pleasing me.
Right.
It's
Because
like,
then you put that off on him
I'm
and
my
make
wife,
it,
you know.
you make your spouse feel like it's something wrong with them, and it's not them, it's
Right,
you. So
right. So yeah, man, thank you so much to my beautiful wife. Okay, I'm sorry. You got it inside of the little voices we do. Okay, my bad. I forgot I was on camera for a second. And thank you guys, so much for tuning in. I hope this helped. I hope this helped, on a serious note, because 50% of Christian men struggle with pornography, 20% of Christian women. Women deal with since the times I've really been doing these videos, I was telling my wife earlier, most of the men deal with porn, but most of the women tend to deal with masturbation.
hmm
Bottom line, like I don't know, I don't know why that is.
I
Maybe I have
might
to
be
look
able to
at.
share a little bit on why that
We
is.
can do a separate video on that,
Yeah. I think I
but
might be able to. I'm
but
nobody's
we'll do a
expert.
separate video on this because this one been long. Like we said, I love you guys, and if you want more tips and strategy on how to overcome porn and masturbation, go to www.pornaddictshelp.com. Pornaddictshelp.com. Love you guys. Peace
Peace.
up, and I always wanted to do this, and I'm not from there. Peace out, and A-Town down.
Oh my
One.
God.
I Is it all? Oh no, it's still recording. Wow. This thing